Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. The next morning dawned bright and clear, sunlight streaming through the curtains and gently rousing Aaron from his slumber. For a moment, he lay still, the events of the previous day flooding back to him. A mix of emotions washed over him, relief, joy, and a lingering trace of nervousness about what the new day might bring. Beside him, Brock stirred, blinking sleepily. "Morning," he mumbled, rubbing his eyes. "For a second there, I thought yesterday might have been a dream." Aaron chuckled softly. "Me too, but it wasn't. We really did it. We came out to our moms." The reality of their situation settled over them, bringing with it a renewed sense of excitement and anticipation. They had been invited to breakfast as Arya and Brianna, an opportunity they never thought they'd have. "We should probably start getting ready," Brock said, sitting up and stretching. "It's going to take a while to do our makeup and hair." Aaron nodded, already mentally planning his outfit for the day. They set about their morning routine, taking turns in the bathroom and helping each other with the more challenging aspects of their transformations. As Aaron carefully applied his foundation, he couldn't help but marvel at how different this felt from their previous dressing sessions. There was still excitement, still joy in the process, but the fear and secrecy that had always lingered in the background were gone, replaced by a sense of acceptance and freedom. "Hey, Brock," Aaron called out as he blended his eyeshadow. Do you think this changes things? I mean, now that our moms know?" Brock paused in the middle of styling his wig, considering the question. "I think it does," he said slowly. "But in a good way, you know? We don't have to hide anymore. We can be more open about this part of ourselves." Aaron nodded, relief washing over him at Brock's words. He had been worried, in some small corner of his mind, that the revelation might somehow change their friendship or their enjoyment of crossdressing. But Brock was right. If anything, this new openness would only enhance their experiences. As they finished their preparations, both took a moment to admire their reflections. Aaron had chosen a soft, pastel blue dress that brought out the warmth in his skin tone, while Brock had opted for a flowy, floral print skirt paired with a crisp white blouse. "Ready?" Aaron asked, smoothing down the front of his dress nervously. Brock nodded, offering a reassuring smile. "Ready, let's do this." They made their way downstairs, the smell of coffee and pancakes filling the air. As they entered the kitchen, they were greeted by the sight of their mothers bustling about, setting the table and flipping pancakes. Aaron's mother was the first to notice them. "Good morning, Arya, Brianna," she said warmly, using their feminine names without hesitation. "You both look lovely. Did you sleep well?" The simple act of being addressed by their chosen names in such a casual, accepting manner nearly brought tears to Aaron's eyes. "We did, thank you," he replied, his voice slightly shaky with emotion. Brock's mother turned from the stove, a stack of pancakes in hand. "Oh my, you two are a vision!" she exclaimed. "Brianna, honey, that skirt is absolutely darling on you." Brock beamed at the compliment, twirling slightly to show off the skirt's movement. "Thanks, Mom. I wasn't sure about the print at first, but I really like how it turned out." "It's perfect," Aaron's mother agreed. "Now come sit down, both of you. These pancakes aren't going to eat themselves." As they settled around the table, the conversation flowed easily. They discussed their plans for the day, shared makeup tips, and even started planning a shopping trip together. The atmosphere was light, filled with laughter and an underlying current of love and acceptance. "So," Brock's mother said as she poured more syrup on her pancakes, "have you two thought about telling anyone else? Your fathers, for instance?" The question hung in the air for a moment, heavy with implications. Aaron and Brock exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them. "We've talked about it," Aaron said slowly, "but we're not sure how to approach it. It's a big step." Aaron's mother reached out, placing a comforting hand on his arm. "There's no rush," she assured him. You can take all the time you need, and when you're ready, if you'd like us there for support, we'd be happy to help." Brock's mother nodded in agreement. "Absolutely. This is your journey, and you get to decide the pace. We're just here to support you." The offer of support brought a fresh wave of emotion to both Iran and Brock. It was one thing to be accepted, but to have their mothers actively offering to advocate for them was beyond anything they had dared to hope for. "Thank you," Brock said, his voice thick with gratitude. "That means more than you know." As they continued their breakfast, the conversation shifted to lighter topics. They discussed fashion trends, shared funny stories from their pasts, and even started planning a movie night where they could all dress up together. "You know," Erin's mother mused as she sipped her coffee, "I have some old dresses from the 80s tucked away in the attic. They might be a bit dated, but I bet we could have some fun with them. What do you think about a retro dress-up night?" The suggestion was met with enthusiastic agreement from all sides. The idea of not just being accepted, but actively included in their cross-dressing activities filled Iran and Brock with a joy they couldn't quite put into words. As the morning wore on, Iran found himself marveling at how natural it all felt. Here they were, dressed as Arya and Brianna, having breakfast with their mothers as if it were the most normal thing in the world. And in a way, he realized it was. This was who they were, a part of themselves they had kept hidden for so long, now out in the open and embraced by the people who mattered most. "You know," Brock said, a thoughtful expression on his face, "I keep thinking about all the times we were so scared of being caught. All the stress and anxiety we put ourselves through. And now it feels like we can finally breathe." Erin nodded, understanding exactly what Brock meant. "It's like a weight has been lifted," he agreed. "I didn't even realize how heavy it was until it was gone." Their mothers exchanged glances, a mix of sadness and love in their eyes. "We're so sorry you felt you had to hide this from us for so long," Erin's mother said softly. "But we're so proud of you both for having the courage to be yourselves. And we're grateful that you've let us in," Brock's mother added. "This is a beautiful part of who you are, and we're honored to be able to share in it." The sincerity in their words brought fresh tears to Aaron and Brock's eyes. They had spent so long fearing rejection, preparing themselves for the worst, that the depth of their mother's acceptance was almost overwhelming. As they finished their breakfast and began clearing the table, there was a sense of new beginnings in the air. This wasn't just the end of their secret, it was the start of a new chapter in their lives, one where they could fully embrace all aspects of themselves with the support and love of their families. "So," Erin's mother said as she loaded the dishwasher, "what's on the agenda for today? Any big plans for Arya and Brianna?" Erin and Brock exchanged glances, realizing they hadn't thought beyond breakfast. In the past, their time as Arya and Brianna had been limited to stolen hours in Erin's bedroom. The idea of having a whole day stretched out before them, with the blessing of their mothers, was both exciting and a little daunting. "We hadn't really planned anything," Brock admitted. "Usually we just hang out here, maybe watch some movies or practice makeup techniques." "Well," Brock's mother said, a mischievous glint in her eye, "how would you feel about a little outing? Nothing too adventurous. Maybe just a walk in the park. Or we could do some window shopping downtown." The suggestion hung in the air, full of possibility. Aaron felt a flutter of nervousness in his stomach at the idea of going out in public dressed as Arya, but there was excitement there too. I think I'd like that," he said slowly, looking to Brock for confirmation. "What do you think, Brock? Brianna?" Brock nodded, a mix of nervousness and determination on his face. "Yeah, let's do it. We've talked about wanting to go out before, but we were always too scared. But with you two there, I think we can handle it." Their mothers beamed with pride. "That's our girls," Erin's mother said, the use of the feminine term sending a warm thrill through both Aaron and Brock. "We'll be right there with you every step of the way." As they prepared for their outing, there was a flurry of activity. Makeup was touched up, outfits were adjusted, and purses were packed with essentials. Through it all, their mothers offered advice and encouragement, treating the whole thing as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Now, remember," Brock's mother said as they were about to leave, "if at any point you feel uncomfortable or want to come home, just say the word. This is supposed to be fun, not stressful." Aaron and Brock nodded, grateful for the reassurance. As they stepped out of the house, the sunlight warm on their faces, there was a sense of stepping into a new world. It was the same neighborhood they had always known, but seeing it through the eyes of Arya and Brianna with their mothers by their sides made it feel like a grand adventure. They decided to start with a walk in the nearby park. As they strolled along the path, Aaron was acutely aware of every glance in their direction. But to his surprise, most people barely gave them a second look. Those who did often offered friendly smiles or nods. "See?" Aaron's mother said quietly, noticing his nervousness. "You both look beautiful and natural. No one's even batting an eye." As they walked, the conversation flowed easily. They discussed everything from the beautiful weather to their plans for the upcoming week. It struck Aran how normal it all felt. Just a family out for a morning walk, enjoying each other's company. After the park, they decided to brave the downtown area for some window shopping. As they perused the displays in boutique windows, Brock's mother pointed out a dress she thought would look lovely on Brianna. "Oh, that's gorgeous," Brock agreed, admiring the flowing fabric and delicate embroidery. "But I don't know if I'm ready to try on clothes in a store just yet." "That's perfectly okay, honey," his mother assured him. "Maybe we could order it online. That way you can try it on in the comfort of home." The suggestion was met with enthusiastic agreement, and they spent the next hour discussing different styles and colors that would suit both Arya and Brianna. The ease with which their mothers slipped between their male and female names and identities was touching, a constant reminder of their acceptance and support. As lunchtime approached, they found a quiet cafe with outdoor seating. As they settled at a table, Aron felt a moment of panic as the waiter approached. How would he address them? Would he give them strange looks? But the waiter merely smiled politely and asked, "What can I get for you ladies today?" The simple, matter-of-fact way he addressed them sent a thrill of joy through Aran. He caught Brock's eye across the table, seeing his own excitement mirrored there. As they enjoyed their lunch, basking in the warm sun and the even warmer glow of acceptance, Aran found himself reflecting on how much had changed in just 24 hours. Yesterday morning, he and Brock had been planning another secret session, fraught with the fear of discovery. Now, here they sat in broad daylight, surrounded by strangers, fully embraced by their mothers. "I can't believe we're really doing this," Brock said softly, echoing Aran's thoughts. "It feels like a dream." "But it's not," Brock's mother said, reaching out to squeeze his hand. "This is real, honey. This is your life, and we're so happy to be a part of it." As they finished their meal and prepared to head home, there was a sense of accomplishment in the air. They had taken a huge step today, venturing out into the world as Arya and Brianna for the first time. It hadn't been without its moments of anxiety, but overall, it had been a beautiful, affirming experience. Back at Aron's house, they all collapsed onto the living room couch, tired but happy. "So," Aaron's mother said, a smile playing on her lips, "how does it feel to have had your first day out as Arya and Brianna?" Aaron and Brock exchanged glances, a world of shared experiences and emotions passing between them. "It feels right," Aaron said finally, "like we've finally stopped holding our breath." Brock nodded in agreement. "It's like, for the first time, we're fully ourselves. Not just when we're alone, but out in the world too." Their mothers beamed with pride. The love and acceptance radiating from them almost palpable in the room. "We're so proud of you both," Aaron's mother said, her voice thick with emotion. "It takes a lot of courage to be true to yourselves." especially in a world that doesn't always understand. Brock's mother nodded in agreement. And we want you to know that this is just the beginning. We're here for you, every step of the way, wherever this journey takes you. The weight of their words settled over the room, a comforting blanket of support and love. For a moment, no one spoke, each lost in their own thoughts and emotions. It was Brock who finally broke the silence. You know, he said, a thoughtful expression on his face, I keep thinking about all the times we almost got caught, all the close calls and near misses, and now it feels like we can breathe. Aran finished for him, understanding exactly what his friend meant. Like we don't have to constantly look over our shoulders anymore. Their mothers exchanged glances, a mix of sadness and determination in their eyes. We're so sorry you felt you had to hide for so long, Aran's mother said softly. I wish we had known sooner that we could have supported you from the beginning. But we're here now, Brock's mother added firmly. And we're not going anywhere. Whatever you need, whatever challenges come up, we'll face them together. The sincerity in their words brought fresh tears to Aran and Brock's eyes. They had spent so long preparing for the worst, steeling themselves against potential rejection, that the depth of their mother's acceptance was almost overwhelming. Thank you, Aran said, his voice barely above a whisper. For everything. For today, for loving us, no matter what. Brock nodded in agreement, too choked up to speak. Their mothers moved in for a group hug, enveloping both of them in a warm embrace that spoke volumes more than words ever could. As they pulled apart, Erin's mother wiped her eyes, a watery smile on her face. Well, she said, her voice a mix of emotion and determination, I think this calls for a celebration. How about we order in some dinner and have a movie night? We can all stay dressed up if you'd like. The suggestion was met with enthusiastic agreement. As they debated what to order and which movies to watch, Aran couldn't help but marvel at how natural it all felt. Here they were, planning a family movie night with he and Brock still fully dressed as Arya and Brianna. It was everything they had ever dreamed of, and so much more. While they waited for the food to arrive, Brock's mother disappeared upstairs, returning a few minutes later with a small, ornate box. I thought, she said, a hint of nervousness in her voice, that you might like to borrow these, Brianna. She opened the box to reveal a pair of delicate pearl earrings. They were my grandmother's, she explained. I've been saving them for a special occasion, and, well, I think this qualifies. Brock's eyes widened, his hand trembling slightly as he reached out to touch the earrings. Mom, he breathed. Are you sure? They're so beautiful. I'm absolutely sure, she replied firmly. They'd look lovely on you, honey. Here, let me help you put them on. As Brock's mother carefully fastened the earrings, Aaron watched the scene unfold with a lump in his throat. It was more than just a gesture of acceptance. It was a passing down of family history, an inclusion of Brianna in a lineage of strong women. Not to be outdone, Aron's mother disappeared into her bedroom, returning with a silky scarf in hand. This was my favorite when I was about your age, she said, draping it carefully around Aron's shoulders. I think it complements your dress beautifully, Arya. The weight of the scarf around his shoulders felt like more than just fabric. It was a tangible symbol of his mother's love and acceptance. Aaron fingered the soft material, blinking back tears. Thank you, Mom, he said softly. It's perfect. As they settled in for their movie night, the living room filled with the aroma of delivered Chinese food and the soft glow of candlelight, Aran couldn't help but feel a sense of rightness. This was family, he realized. Not just by blood, but by choice and acceptance. The conversation flowed easily as they ate, jumping from topic to topic. They discussed favorite movies, shared funny stories from their pasts, and even started planning future outings for Arya and Brianna. You know, Brock's mother said thoughtfully as she reached for another egg roll, there's a vintage clothing store downtown that I think you girls would love. They have the most amazing selection of dresses from different eras.
We should make a day of it sometime.
The casual way she referred to them as girls sent a warm thrill through Aaron. It wasn't forced or awkward. It was simply an acknowledgement of who they were in that moment.
That sounds amazing, Brock replied enthusiastically. Maybe we could do a whole retro theme? Like, pick an era and go all out with the hair and makeup too?
As they continued to chat and plan, Aaron found himself marveling at how much had changed in just one day. Yesterday, the idea of planning shopping trips and themed dress-up days with their mothers would have seemed like an impossible fantasy. Now it was their new reality. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.